you push? Well, this pawn on the h file looks like the most natural move at first glance because you promote it to a queen, but then bishop just takes. And that will actually happen with any of the pawn pushes. Over here, the bishop can just take, and same with the rest of the pawn pushes. So the second move you might think is, well, then why don't we just attack the bishop? Now that also doesn't work because the bishop can then just move either there or there or anywhere really. There, whatever it is, and your pawns still cannot move. So your best option is not to push any of the pawns, rather to move the king to d2, and his king will try to come up because if you get your king there by itself, it will be able to promote the pawns. So you keep running your king, and both players do that until they reach the edge of the board. Fine. So now king h6, king f8. Now, what is your strongest move? Well, you still cannot push any of your pawns because the bishop controls the whole file, so you still cannot push. So the best move here is actually to sacrifice the pawn. You push the pawn, and after bishop takes with check, you slide your king over to g6. Now, as for Black's king has two legal moves. Black can either go to e8 or e7, but both of those moves lose the bishop because we could just take and very simply promote with h8 equals queen on the next move. So, instead of doing that, Black can instead move the bishop all the way to any side of the board. It could be anywhere. It could be to the farthest corner. It could be also there, and there. But let's say Black moves to the farthest corner. Then we could very simply push, and no matter what Black does, he cannot stop the pawn from promoting because his bishop is cut off. Say he takes, you have opposition, not really, but whatever. His king is forced to move away, and that is going to be checkmate in just a few moves. So instead of going king e7, king e8, bishop a1, Black's best reply is bishop h8, blocking your pawn from moving. And obviously you can't go king g7, even though it would be a fork with the king and bishop. Ha ha ha. So your best move in this position is pawn f6. Obviously the bishop can't take. You are also limiting the bishop because the bishop now cannot move. So since the bishop cannot move, or you could lose it, but that's the same position as we had before, the king is forced to move to e8, after which you push your pawn. The Black king will try to come for the pawn and will likely go king d7. If he does not go to king d7, rather goes somewhere like king f8, then we can just push, and we will be able to promote one of these pawns and win the game. And the same goes for d8. So the king is forced to d7, but now we can just take opposition, and we can win the bishop in the corner, promote a pawn, and win the game. Very simply, win the game. Even though he gets all of our pawns, we promote to a queen. Make sure to subscribe. If you text GeekBros123 the letter B as in Barry, then you will get to play me for a chess.com membership, only if you subscribe. So do that now. Subscribe.